Hi, Dale. I'm Dr. Karen. Thank you so much for writing in. And I can definitely understand why you might be getting a little bit concerned about Hal and how much he's chasing his tail. And I totally agree in that at first it can seem fairly amusing, even hilarious to watch them engage in this. But yes, after a while, it can certainly become very worrying. Although the occasional tail chase isn't much of a concern, it's when it becomes a real habit, almost an obsessive compulsive sort of behavior, that we really need to be worried. Because not only can it affect them behaviorally and mentally, it could also lead to risks of physical damage if those dogs catch and end up biting and injuring their tails. A lot of the time, this type of behavior starts with a physical trigger. Sometimes it might be that their anal glands need emptying. It could be that they've had fleas or something that's caused an itch or irritation in that back area. And that sort of alerted them to the fact that there's something there that's a little bit interesting. So you get this pattern of, I see the tail, I want to chase the tail, and a lot of the time they can't catch their tail, so it's almost like cats becoming obsessed with those laser pointer toys. The challenge is there, and their instinct to chase will always win out. Now, the extra trouble you've got is that with a border collie, you have a dog that is mentally sharp and that has been bred to work. Even though a lot of the border collies we see today have been bred as pets, they've still got generations and generations of breeding for chasing and herding sheep and cattle that is still in their very core. And that means if they're not working, they've still got that drive to want to chase and herd, but nowhere to really put it. So that can become a frustration all on its own. And sometimes it can even lead to aggression or biting and chasing things that they shouldn't. And in this case, it sounds like Hal is chasing his tail, probably out of a little bit of frustration and boredom. So the first thing you do want to do is get Hal checked over by a vet, just to make sure that there aren't any physical issues that are triggering or at least encouraging this behavior to continue. So making sure that he doesn't have any injuries to his tail, nothing that's causing any itching or perhaps any issues with his anal glands. Once you've got the clean bill of health, then we need to find a way to distract him from that activity and give him something more interesting and more rewarding. So for a dog like Hal, that might mean changing up his exercise regime a little bit, getting some more challenging toys that he has to really do some thinking and problem solving to work out. Perhaps look at things like some agility programs or some scent trailing, anything that's going to get his mind working, his body working, and that way he's got an outlet for those instinctive behaviors and drives that he has. So it's really about ruling out any physical triggers and making sure you are keeping not just his body active, but his mind as well. It's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking we're getting him plenty of physical exercise, but if he's on the same routine every day, then often their mind isn't being challenged enough. And that can lead to these type of stereotypical, almost obsessive types of behaviors. So I hope that helps, but if you do have any other worries or questions, do feel free to head over to pangovet.com and you can make an appointment to talk about this in a little bit more detail with one of our vets. And I'll leave some links below so that you can do a little bit more reading about how to keep Hal nice and challenged. Take care.